kick this part. Welcome, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Best Missouri Hands Professional Development Workshop. And this month, we are just going to do a little roundtable discussion. Right now, we only have three of us, and that's enough for a conversation. Wanda and I were just having one ourselves. This is just an informal one. And so we've got Carolyn with us today. We've got Wanda and myself. And we have recorded this in case we come up with some really good discussion. We'll be able to share that with others. And so, Carolyn, since I don't think we've ever met in person, but I know your work. Um, I'd like if you wouldn't mind doing a little introduction of yourself.
Okay, well, so my name's Carolyn Kerrigan, and I have just recently joined as a juried artist in July. And thank you very much. And I have been truly enjoying seeing Wanda's work through Instagram and stuff. So it's been a lot of fun. And I have been doing stained glass and mosaics and fused glass. Fused glass most recently for about a year now, and I absolutely love it. And the more I learn, the happier I get. It's just a true passion of mine. I've I guess picked up stained glass from when lived in Europe. So I was in the military with my father, and I really enjoyed the architecture there and seeing all the stained glass. And so that was probably the first thing that caught my eye about glass. And I've been in love with it ever since. As a younger person, I did lots of oil painting and drawing and learned pointillism. And as I grew older, I tried acrylics. So I just really love to be creative, but glass is definitely my passion just because I can take something that I draw or make and then create it in glass, and I just have blast with that.
Absolutely. What area are you in the state?
Springfield.
Springfield. Okay, so you're down south. Well, excellent.
Yes,
I
my
would
my family is in Kansas City, so I go back and forth between Kansas City and Springfield.
Okay. That's not too bad of a drive, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you what. Well, Wanda and I will each introduce ourselves too, and then we'll see what kind of questions you might have and what kind of conversation we can get going. So, Wanda, if you'll introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm a glass artist. I'm in Lee Summit, Missouri, which is a suburb of Kansas City. When I'm not playing with glass, I am trying to be out on the lake kayaking or hiking or doing something outside. Um, what I love about Best of Missouri Hands is just all the wonderful artists and friends I've made over the years. You know, sharing our creativity, just sharing ourselves and learning from each other every chance we get in person or through our Facebook members only page. It's been a wonderful organization to help me grow as an artist and in my art business.
Yeah, and we absolutely love all that you have done for Best Missouri Hands and the artist too, Wanda. So, a big hats off to you there because behind the scenes you've done a lot for us. So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
I'm Kim Carr, juried photographer with Best Missouri Hands. And I discovered Best Missouri Hands because when I first started out back like in 2010, 11 or so, I was invited to do a little bitty event. And there was an artist there, Catherine Mahoney, who's a plein air painter in Herman. She had a banner that said, juried Best Missouri Hands artist. And I just thought, that looks really cool, you know. So and talking with her and stuff is how I discovered the group. And it's been, I mean, I bring it up in the top five things, best things that have ever happened to me in my life, because especially as an artist, because it's like Wanda said, I mean, it's just the people I've been able to meet and connect with and stuff. It's like more like family to me. And I like the thing that, if you got a question as an artist, I mean, I didn't go to school to be a photographer or anything like that. I went for agriculture. And so to me, it's just like I have access to a university of creative minds. And so anything I need to know or need help with or something, Wanda and I were just discussing before we started this. I'm working on publishing my second book, and she was telling me all about something a friend of hers has done, and has given me some ideas and has got me pumped up. So I love the organization, and I'm glad that we're here today. And Carolyn, um, are there any questions? As a new juried member, do you have any questions about how to set up your juried member page or social
Um,
media or
s- yeah, so I sat in on the website webinar that you guys did, and it was very helpful to know that there are options. And I don't know that I want to do this on a recording, but I would absolutely love to bend either one of yours ear and just try to do it. I have Etsy, and I'm not growing fond of it as I move on, just because things changed with the algorithm, and I'm really not sure uh, I make enough, do enough activity to make it worthwhile. And I'd like to start. I have Square, and I know you can do Square free. So I thought, well, maybe I could create my own website, but I kind of seem to have stumbled a little when I tried to do it on my own.
That's a common factor, Carolyn. You're not alone. Um, I started an Etsy shop years and years ago, and I just did digital products. As a photographer, I could upload my images, and I did birthday invitations. And so someone would pick one of my photos, and I would you know, put, join us for, Carolyn's eighth birthday party and blah, blah, blah. And I did decent, but I think Etsy is, unfortunately, fortunately, it used to be handmade only.
Right.
But years ago, they opened the door to let everything and anything in. And I think it is just so diluted the platform. I think so many people have moved away from it. I know that I put my shop on vacation probably about 4 years ago, and I hated to delete it because I'd put so much work into it. But I wasn't that there was just no way to hardly get found anymore without putting tons of money into advertising and stuff like that. So at some point when I get brave enough and just pass it, I'll just go ahead and delete my Etsy shop. I think there are other platforms that are more active and more based on handmade, that might serve you better there. Wanda, what do you think?
I do know a glass artist who is a Best Missouri Hands member, Kathy Gross, and she uses Etsy. So, Carolyn, you might reach out to Kathy and see if she's got some thoughts for you there. She does not have a website, so she uses that as her website and her selling platform. And it works for her. I used to use it. I got off of it for some of the same reasons that Kim mentioned and Carolyn that you mentioned. Just
Right.
found like there was a lot out there. I also found that a lot of the other glass artists out there were underpricing their work, and it just didn't feel like the place for me to be. I want to be considered a fine art artist. I don't,
Exactly.
I don't want to sell my work for less than what it cost me to buy the materials from, and I don't want to be compared in that context either. So for me, but that's not true of everybody out there. And it's better than not having a website because it gives a place for you to tell people to go while you're looking at Square or other options. Now, when I first put my own website together, I kept Etsy out there thinking that maybe people would find me and come over to my website. But honestly, it's just too much work to maintain multiple. I am thinking about, mine's also on vacation, but I have been thinking about, I have a few series where I'm down to one or two pieces in that series, and it might be good to clean my website of them. So I might move those over to Etsy just to keep them out there for sale, but to clean my website up of some of that work that I don't want to sell or make new work, I should say. And um, at first, I made my own website with WordPress. I don't recommend that. It's a lot of
Okay.
work. You need to be very technical, and it takes a lot more to maintain it. And there's so many more easy platforms, which we talked about in that other webinar.
Right.
Um, on that webinar, I mentioned that I went to Shopify, and I'm very happy with that. Yes, it does have a cost to it, but it's so easy that I keep it maintained. And I wasn't keeping my old one maintained. So that's the first criteria of success, is finding one that you find easy enough to add new work when it comes out, to add additional information when it comes out, etc. So it doesn't matter which one you pick, Wix or Weebly or Square or whatever one, when you start looking at it, you're going to be able to not only get it set up, but it's going to be easy to put new work in there. It's going to be easy to update it. If you're doing point of sale work, that it's going to be, one of the things I like about the concept of either Square or Shopify, both of them have point of sale devices for when you're in person. And it will,
Oh, so Shopify has that.
yes, it does. And Square does
Okay.
too. But
That
in
was
my
one of
case of
the,
my Shopify, it's a different device. It looks exactly like the Square, but it's a Shopify version. But when I sell something in person, it automatically marks it sold on my website.
well, somebody had
So,
told me that about Square, which was why I was leaning towards
mhm,
it, because I was using it already for for
mhm.
shows. And I was told that if you sold something at a show, it would start counting as your sales on your website. It would show more and more sales. And I thought, well, that would really help with increasing your business numbers of sales. So I was excited about that.
Yeah,
So Shopify does that as well then.
yes. And the other thing I like about Shopify, and I believe Square does a lot of the same things, but I would look at it if it's important to you. When I load my products on my Shopify, I have the settings set up such that it automatically puts that product in my Facebook shop. So that means
Mm.
I can tag those works in Facebook and Instagram on post. And it used to be it was truly a shop where you shopped on Facebook, but now it just links to the website. So they click on Facebook, see the shop, but when they click into the product, it takes them to the actual website for purchase.
Nice.
So when you
So
say
and
your
that and I
shop,
don't do anything more. If I sell it, it gets marked as sold over on Facebook. And same with Pinterest. It's an integrated link. It's all setting. So I just look at those types of things and what's important to you and which of these products offers those features for you. And I'm sure Square is just as Shopify is not just for artists. It is used by, you know, shops, physical retail shops and all that. So they use terms like product and all that, but they have lots of different themes. So you can pick a theme that's more artsy. And I'm in the process of upgrading mine. I probably won't get it done until this winter, but they went to 2.0 and I'm still on the old one because my theme, I don't want to pay for the upgrade. I'm going to go to a free theme that is covered in the new version. Um, that's just the mistakes you make along the way that you have to fix. But I don't think it's going to be that hard for me to make that switch. I think I'm going to be able to flip. I'm going to choose a bunch of themes, see what it looks like, and then tweak it from there because I think it'll make it easy. What's your question, Carolyn?
about your shop that you mentioned on Facebook, is that something that you created separate from your page?
No, it's part of the page. I think there's some settings where you say you want to set up a shop, but
Okay.
you have to have a business page. You can't have a shop on a personal page.
Okay.
But I never set up the shop until I got the integration with Shopify. And I say that because I think I had to set the shop up at that point, but then I integrated them. So I never created the products there. You could do that if you wanted to. You could leave while you're on Etsy, you can create a shop on your Facebook business page and load up your products and prices in the
Ye-
shop.
Yeah, I don't want to try and maintain two though.
That's my view. So, but you know, in an interim, if you just like, don't go back and do all your old ones, but if you got a couple of new ones and you want to post them out on social media and tag them for sale, especially, you know, if you're in that situation, I don't know, maybe Etsy's integrated. You might look at that as well. But even if it's not, you could just do it with one or two of your new works just to see how it works, just to see how the shop works while you're working on Square or whatever. I wouldn't go load the whole thing up because once you figure out whatever website builder you pick, I'm betting most of them have that kind of integration.
Okay. All right,
But
I
you
have a
know,
new.
That's
I love the feature of being able to tag the products. Now, what I like about um, you know, go back and look at our, it's probably been a while, but our social media Zoom workshops. I think we had one where we actually demoed using the business manager from Meta. So what I do is I go out once every couple of weeks and I put together all my posts for a couple of weeks. And the ones where I'm introducing a new artwork or anytime there's artwork in there, I tag them. And the reason I use the business manager is one, I can schedule them. Two, I can put them on both Facebook and Instagram at the same time. If I want to customize them between the two, I can do it on that same posting, but change the wording for Instagram and Facebook. You can do real stories, you can do all that, and you can schedule in advance and kind of manage your social media between those platforms. Now, I'm not the one to
Nice.
talk to about YouTube. You know, that's we covered that in one of the other webinars as well, or TikTok, which is also covered somewhere else. Because again, that's too much work for me. It's too many platforms.
Agreed, agreed.
well, I will tell you what, Carolyn, so you say you do follow Wanda's Facebook page?
Yeah, and Instagram.
Okay. I
And I
will tell
follow
you what
Carolyn.
she is. Yeah, she is one of the most impressive members I think we have as far as I mean the she's the only one I can really think of that does have the shop integrated with our Facebook and our website and stuff like that. And so when her some of her post pops up, you can see that an item's tagged and the price and stuff like that. And I have avoided doing that out of just plain fear. Um, I know it takes time and you know, will it work with my websites or through Weebly, which is integrated with Square, but it's still kind of separate or whatever. But I think I'm just going to have to try it because Wanda's is very successful. I like the looks of it. And, you know, she's a consistent poster on social media. And I think that makes I think it makes a huge difference. You gotta, no matter, Carolyn, if you're going to sell on Etsy or wherever, you need to be posting that. If you're, you know, share the link over to Etsy or whatever, you got to get that out there on social media and let people know where they can find your art, where can they buy it.
Right. And currently all I have is a link in my profile on Instagram or something like that. So I don't know how to like you can't really I haven't figured out how to put the link in an Instagram reel or
You
post.
can't put a link in Instagram. It won't
Okay.
work, but you can do it in Facebook. So
Okay,
that's
got it.
where, if you're using like Business Manager to do your social media posts, that's where I would go out and type it up once and then say you want to customize it and then go over to, Facebook and add the link to that one because Facebook allows the links. And oh, well, don't do that till after you put your photo in. Um, anyway, um, you want the
Wanda,
photo first because.
can you put a link in bio? Can you do it like
Yes, you
that?
can do a link and you can do a link tree. And I would highly recommend that you go and watch the workshop, which was just a couple of months ago on Linktree that Barbara Phillips did for us.
Oh, I
It
missed
was
that.
it was really easy. I added the link tree and I did it. I put mine together while she was doing the webinar and had it done. So I just watched the video and do the link tree at the same time. And then you can have links to multiple different whatever you might have out there.
Okay, so that's your Instagram there.
Yes, it
Carol,
is.
is Best Missouri Hands following it? Yes, it is. Okay, very
Mhm.
good. Well, and so here's your last post, and that was
Yeah, it
3 days
actually
ago.
has, this one actually got quite a few more visibility activities, whatever it's called, insights.
Insights,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, I watch the insight numbers, and some of them I only get 30 or 40, and sometimes I get, 150 or 300. I never know what's going to make something jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, and videos tend for me anyway, videos tend to get more, but I'm not willing. There's a limit on how many videos I'm willing to make.
Right.
And quite honestly, I think if you want to be really, really working at it, in the sense of trying to do something, videos with you in it will get more, um,
Mhm.
will get pushed more. It's, you notice I don't do that, but they will get pushed more. And our speaker at the last Art Smart, he had really good insights. Can't say I'm following him. He believes that you really should be sharing your story and not just your art, and talking about your beliefs and a lot of that. And you can follow
Oh,
the
goodness.
starving artist if you want to hear more about his insights. But he probably has a point to that. People will follow
They want to
you,
connect with you more.
right? If you've got the same beliefs or interest or things that connect with them, they're more likely to follow you. And then one of those as you're talking about why you do things or whatever, that then they're likely one of those is going to turn into, oh, I love Carolyn, I'm following her, and now this piece speaks to me in the same way.
Well,
That's
it's
just, to me,
funny
that's
you
not genuine, so you won't see that on my page, because that's just not why. I don't create for in a belief system or whatever that a lot
right.
of artists do.
Well, and your comment to me about, showing your face and doing that in the videos or whatever on Instagram get more attention. That I've never done that. I have never, and my fear of camera keeps me from doing that.
Well, I will tell you what though, Wanda just posted a video. You can't see her face, but you can see her hands
Oh, I
working,
know, I saw it.
and I found that so much more engaging too. It's just like this is a human being
Yeah.
doing this, and so even if you don't show your face, I think there's ways to show yourself, or set the camera up behind you so it's shooting the back of your head over your shoulder or something, because to me it really did. It was just like, oh, there's Wanda. I mean, I knew, so
There's her arm, there's her piece of her hair.
so I mean, I watched, I mean, I was drawn to that. I was drawn to that. So I think there's ways that you can get around showing your face by showing just, you know, different angles or something like that, where they can see that it's a real human being creating
Fair
this and
enough.
that you're the artist. But I want, while I've got this up though, I want to tell you that um I think there's some good things you've really done here. For one, they say hashtags are dead. I still use them. I don't think they're going to hurt anything. So I like here that you tagged your company's name. I think that is so important on your work to tag your own name. And then also too down here, I like that you tagged Best Missouri Hands, because um, that helps. Right now, Christine is running our Instagram,
Uh-huh.
and so that helps bring it up, make it visible to her, and then she'll share it, which we'll share over to our main Facebook page. And so I think you're doing some good things. It looks nice here, and you got the link to your Etsy shop in there. So, um,
Yeah, I haven't put a lot of new stuff on there, and I just feel like it's not getting the activity it used to, so I struggle with the work behind it. So I guess I want to look into Shopify or Weebly and just kind of see if
Yeah,
I can.
compare them all, but do it. The one thing I would suggest is almost all of them give you like a 30-day free trial. So pick the time frame when you know you can spend the time,
Sure.
concentrated time during that free. Don't worry about getting all your content. Do enough of it to say, I know how to use this tool. I think it'll be easy. I know how I can add my art. I know how I can add more pages. I can change my menu. So don't get hung up on the content. Just, because now when I did Shopify, I don't think Square had the capabilities it has now. So I don't think it advanced that far. It was more like you could add it as e-commerce to one of the other web builders. And they've all advanced a lot in just the last couple of years, especially. But I did that same thing. I just picked a couple of the website builders that I had researched and thought would fit my needs. And I was adamant that I wanted e-commerce. I know a lot of artists don't go there, but my purpose of having a website is to sell my work. So that was part of my criteria, was how easy was it to add my artwork? How easy is it for the customer to buy it? Does it support all forms of payment? So I would go out and create a basic menu that, place to add some of your artwork, put dummy wording in there. Don't get cut up in anything related to content, and just say, how easy is this to work with? If they're all easy, then which one's cheapest? If integration is important to you, then make sure that you test that part out as well. And then go from there. You can always change it later. It's work,
Absolutely.
but you're not locked in. But if you take that time in a 30-day window when it's all free, to just not worry about getting the website up in 30 days, but if in a couple of weeks you can determine which website builder you like working with, then you're halfway to getting it done.
Okay, awesome. I
Yeah.
have like two more questions. I could talk about the website stuff for hours, but totally up to you guys.
Well, go ahead with your other questions if you want. We can always circle back around, or you can always reach out to us, because or post it on the member only page. People are willing to help. It's a good group.
Yeah. The other thing
Okay.
I'd mention, if you know Barb Byrne, she's our president of Best of Missouri Hands, but
Just
she's
the emails.
she is in the process of switching over her website. And I know she's been doing a lot of research, and specifically around Square. So you guys might have some sharing that might be helpful for both of you.
Awesome. Okay. Just through email, you think?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can even
Sorry, go ahead.
you can email just admin@bestmissourihands.org, and you can put Barb's name in the thing in. It'll get forwarded to her, or
Okay.
reach out to us. We'll give you her personal email. Either way.
My next question, well, it kind of applies to both of you. One as a photographer and the other as a glass artist. Best way to take pictures of glass. I finally have I use a tripod. I use my iPhone the most because it's just the easiest. I have the white background, white floor. I still struggle with shadows and nice lighting.
I'm gonna let Wanda handle this, because glass is hard,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
she will be able to give
Glass is
you
hard.
far more insight than I can on this.
Yeah, I will tell you what I do. It is not necessarily the best answer, but I was gifted a cheap photo booth thing, and it's really PVC and white sheets.
Oh, I
So
have that too.
it's a box, and it's just PVC and white sheets that someone gave me. And then I added a gradiated gray background that I got from, help me out, Kim, it's the big photography.
Was
Yeah,
it
Blick.
Blick? Okay.
Might have been Blick. But anyway, I ordered it online, and they shipped it in to the size I wanted. And I might have had to cut it down just a little bit. And it's just hooked up at the top of the PVC, and then flips, flows out onto the table. And I just have it set up on a card table. And then I just have 2 shop lights with nice lighting. Shop lights meaning what I want to say soft lighting, the right light bulbs in them. And I just play around with those lights. I do have a sheet over the front that I can pull down with a hole in it that I cut out. So I can, if I'm getting too much reflections, I bring the sheet down over the front of the photo booth. And then I
Oh,
can just put the camera over the hole. And that works really well for your things that are upright, especially because, and a lot of times I'll put the light behind me, which then takes some of that glare of the light. That's the biggest problem is you need the lights, but you got to figure out where to place them to so that the light's not directly on the piece. When I
now when
first
you're talking
started
about the
out,
little, sorry, when you're talking about the booth, are you talking about the little square black booth with the PVC that's holding it together?
well, mine is not black. It's a
Okay.
PVC structure. It was handmade, but it's just white sheets that were sewn to hook to the PVC. I couldn't have
Okay.
made it because I don't know how to sew, uh,
Sure.
but a friend of mine made it. But you can buy some photo booths out on Amazon if you want. I'm sure there's YouTubes on how to make your own. So just make sure it's big enough for the work. I mean, I do run
Well,
into
that's the
trouble
problem. I
sometimes with
bought
my
one
bigger
and
work.
yeah, I bought one and it's too
Mine,
confining, I
yeah,
think.
mine is square, but it's the size of a card table. So the width
Oh,
and depth
nice.
of it is the size of
Okay.
a card table. So, you want one big enough
Yep.
to do that. Now, I used to use my husband's digital camera and play with white balance and all that, which I did early on, and it's probably the right thing to do when you're doing your juried pictures, the ones you want to apply with. But for my everyday pictures for my website and social media, I just use my iPhone. I set the lighting up a little bit to either 0.3 or 0.7, so it's a little brighter than what the camera. And I have an older iPhone, um, and then sometimes I go in and edit it, and I might put a filter on it. The vivid hot or the vivid cool sometimes just makes the lighting right for the website or whatever.
Right.
You get a little brighter. You don't keep as much as a gradated gray, but for the website and the social media, you probably don't need it to be so precise on the gradiated gray. So I tend to brighten it up more than it needs to be because I think it makes the glass look better. But the main goal is figuring out where to put your lights so they're not directly reflecting on the glass. And I'm less
Okay.
fussed.
I've
Certain things I don't get too fussed about because they're spoon rest or whatever, and people either like them or they don't. And I'm not trying to jury into a show with them or whatever. So I don't I mean, I still do all the editing, but I don't worry as much about it as I would for a sculpture I'm trying to enter into a exhibit or something.
okay. Awesome.
But there's plenty out there. I know Barb Byrne has she's got the nice professional screen and lighting and all that. So if you want to go that route, she might be your answer. Patty Monks actually does offer doing Minix. I'm sorry, I didn't say her name right. Um, anyway, she offers to do photography for jurying and what have you. So that's an option if you're wanting someone to do it for you, though she's in the St. Louis area, not the Springfield area.
Okay.
Yeah. It used to be like at ArtSmart, there was a gentleman, I think his name was Don Casper, that would come to ArtSmart and would photograph your work. So you could bring, 4, 5, 6 pieces of your work. And during ArtSmart, he would professionally photograph it for you for your jury images and stuff like that. But times have changed, and iPhones and digital cameras and stuff have made it possible for everybody and anybody to photograph their own work. But it takes a little bit of time, practice, practice, practice. And like Wanda said, get you a gradient background or something that you can set up, and dedicate to photographing your glass work. And I would say every time you create a piece, photograph it then, and photograph it from different angles and stuff. But like she said, a jury image is different from, a regular image of, it's nice to see the jury images up on her social media and stuff like that. But for the most part, you know, those are lovely and stuff, but people like regular shots and stuff for like your social media and but I also have been to juries where, I've seen some beautiful jewelry come up and they have photographed it on a log with some oranges or something like that. A jury will flip by that. That's perfect for your website, for Etsy, for social media, but that's not a jury image. And they will just automatically disregard that. So you have to be, when you're photographing your work, maybe take it outside and put it somewhere where it gets the sunlight and stuff like that. Use that for your social media, or for your website. But your jury images they are for trying to get juried in or posting on social media and stuff as a beautiful representation of your work. But it definitely is a different just a different look at your work. And so your jury
And
images are important.
if you don't have a booth, don't get hung up on that. Just find a darker area of your home that doesn't have windows. And then you can use your own lighting and place that lighting. So, I think get creative, at least initially, especially if your main goal is social media and your website. You want good pictures, but don't get hung up on, I don't have the right equipment. Just find it. I had this one little hallway that goes back to the guest bedroom that if I want to hang, wall art and take a picture, I just wait till nighttime so it doesn't get the, light coming from behind me. And I can control the lighting, close the doors in the hallway, and then I can control the lighting to take a picture without the reflections. So, play around. And that's what I do because for the wall art, I use that's my place that it's not gradated gray. But again, usually you crop down your wall art and you're not showing the wall or anything anyway when you do a juried picture. And so I can take those same pictures and crop them down if I want to, but I rarely jury with my wall art. I almost always use sculpture. So anyway, just trying to tell you, be creative, find something that works for you and you can improve it over time. That's my 2 cents. But again, I'm not doing as much jurying
Well,
as I used to. So I'm not as fussed about the jurying part because I'm not doing art fairs anymore. So yeah, I still jury into exhibits, but I might not have the same perspective as someone who was, trying to apply to a lot of juried art shows as far as that goes.
oh, that sounds good. I've actually set up a spot in my basement that I'm trying to work through, and so I'm headed down that road, Wanda. Yeah, you can look at what I have been posting, and it's gotten better. I'm at least showing the image by itself. I used to just put it on a table in my living room, so I'm at least getting better to phase one or two or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And you can be a lot more creative on social media. At least I think so. Like I've got a certain window in my house, so a lot of times I set something on if I want to show the, how it looks in a window versus with a white background, so you can
Right.
see, the transparency or whatever. So yeah, you find some place that is easy to go take a picture and you don't have to rearrange a ton of stuff to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, next question I have is I know someone, I don't remember who, but there was a post about little get-togethers in different parts of the state, and there was going to be more about that, but if there has been, I have not seen it. I'm missing it. I'm really
They
anxious
they
to like find a group that is going to meet so I can hook up with people.
that is still in the works. Barbara Phillips will be overseeing these like regional get-togethers and stuff. We used to do them before COVID. Patty Minix and I think we in Cape Girardeau we did one where we created light boxes and people brought some of their artwork with them to the workshop and they photographed their own work in the light boxes they just created and stuff like that. So this here is going to be it could be an assortment of things. You guys might get together one time and decide to go visit some galleries, or do show and tell of your artwork, or find a space in your area to do a little exhibit, something like that. So these things are kind of being worked on yet, Carolyn. So hopefully by next year, we're looking for volunteers right now that will say, hey, I live in Springfield, and I think there might be someone that has um, put their name in the hat, but anybody can, and it doesn't have to be the same person each time or something. But hopefully by early next year, they will start having some meetings in your region that you can hook up with and stuff. And as soon as they do have something hammered out for the first one, it will get shared around. It'll get sent out in an email. It'll be in the member only page.
Okay.
So but yeah, if you're interested in hosting something, or have an idea, put it on the member only page or contact Barb or Barbara. Like I said, you can use the email admin@bestmissourihands.org, and throw your question out or your idea or something, and someone it'll get forwarded to the right person. They will get back to you. But yeah, nothing has been done yet, but it is in the works.
Okay. It's just nice to think of getting to visit with like-minded people and learn from those that have done well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And did I don't remember, and I apologize. Were you able to attend Art Smart earlier this year?
No, I didn't get to. I am
Right.
headed to Columbia for the Fall into Art. I hope to meet some artists there.
There will be several Best of Missouri Hands artists there. That's been a popular show for Best Missouri Hands members. I don't
Great.
have a list of the members yet, but when I do, I will post that too, because it is nice to look for someone. All the artists there are friendly and will be helpful, but it is
Sure.
nice to see the juried artist banner hanging somewhere, or their name tag, their juried member name tag, and because then you kind of have like already a little connection. And most everybody is, like I said, friendly, willing to help you. And it's nice to put names to art. That's one reason, like on yours, I understand you're camera shy, but I have no idea what you look like or anything. So if I bump into you, I'm gonna say excuse me. But if I bump into Wanda, I'm gonna be, hey, Wanda, So yeah. Uh, um,
Oh
there you
yeah,
are.
you know I have a
Hi.
face.
It is very helpful, and I like the fact that you have Carolyn in your business name, because there we have some members that I've never seen their face, and I don't know their name because they have a business name that is not their name. So like Wanda, I bump into her. Hey, Wanda Tyner Glass. It's she is a brand. She is a walking, living, breathing brand, a representative of herself and her art.
Right.
So some people really hard, so at some point I would encourage you to kind of put your face out there, say once a month, post a picture of yourself with your art, or something like. And if you're doing fallen art, if Allison's doing that show, I'm not sure. I used to, but I'm shifting gears. Um, Somebody will probably come around from Best Missouri Hands and take pictures. Say
Oh, okay.
yes. We say
When
yes.
you
Let them take a
mentioned the
picture.
name tag, when you mentioned the name tag, is that something you buy in the members only catalog?
Go out to
When when you got juried in, you should have been mailed a name tag.
No, I
If
didn't get a
if
name
not,
tag.
please email admin at Best of Missouri Hands. Peggy is the one that takes care of name tags. I believe that is an automatic thing. The banners you have to buy. I believe the name tag is an automatic part of getting juried in.
Okay,
So
I ordered two banners, or well, two little tags. I didn't get the big banner. I got the little
Just,
signs
yeah.
and then some stickers, but I didn't get a name tag that I remember. Oh, no.
Email Peggy at admin and
It's
just let her
black
know
with
that you.
white lettering, if that helps you, and
No,
it's
I didn't
magnetic.
get anything. Okay, I will send them a note.
And I would suggest,
Yeah.
even if you don't want to put your face out in your postings all the time, change your profile picture to be like you with your art. So maybe it's just your head. I think mine might be me at an art show, and I just, somebody took a picture of me behind a podium, and I cropped it down so it's me, and then I put my logo up in the top corner where there was some white space so that my logo was there. I think that might be Facebook instead of Instagram, but I think that's what I've done.
Oh,
It's what
see,
I
I haven't
usually
even
do.
properly done my hair.
Who cares?
That's what
That's you,
us have.
only you know that. Only you know that.
Yeah, no. There's Wanda's. So see, she's,
So
she's got
I'm
her
just at
banner
an art
at the
fair. I
back.
probably was who knows what, but I stuck my logo in the little white space up there, so it's there too.
Very
It's a little
nice.
picture, but at least if they're looking at your page, they've got
Yeah.
it's a little picture. I wouldn't get too worried about it. They've seen your face, they know you're real.
Very good.
And so like here's mine. So here's a picture of me holding up one of my books. So like Wanda said, it doesn't have to be just a full picture of you because that can be scary to take and but just
I'm a
share it.
horrible selfie person. I don't know if I even have one.
Okay, so when you're at the art show, right after you've set up and before all the crowds come in or when there's a lull or whatever, just ask the artist next to you to take a couple of pictures of you because you can crop them and you can do whatever. Take a few pictures of
Right.
you behind your desk or in your booth or make it maybe a couple different things and then don't worry about it. Then after the show, you can edit them down to for different reasons. Like I said, picture was like me in my booth and I cut it
Right.
down to just
Mhm.
the top part of me and all that for the profile because it still had a piece of my art in there. It worked. It wasn't some professional dolled up picture of me. It's just me with my art. So, you do it in some way like that. Plus, it's good to have a picture of you with your art that you could share. Hey, I'm here. I'm at the art show. Nobody's going to judge what you're wearing. Nobody's going to judge what your hair looks like. Man, after you've just set up, you're all sweaty and whatever. Nobody notices all that. They're like,
Exactly.
hey, look at there's
That's
Carolyn,
a
and hey,
crazy
there's her
artist right
art.
there.
Well, and
And,
you are your brand. I've told this story several times. When I first started out, I was doing a photo shoot for a girl for her senior pictures in the botanical gardens. I'd never been there. It was my first time ever to be there, despite have growing up near St. Louis. Um, but I had two different people that day shout, "Hey, Kim Carr!" And I'm like, because in St. Louis, I don't know that you really want people shouting your name. It's just,
Right?
but the thing, people recognize me because of my post on Facebook, because I put my face out there all the time. I don't care. I mean,
you're
this is
much
what
better
got
at that.
me. This
I'm
is
not somebody who likes my picture either, Carolyn, but you
right.
just get used to it. You just you
I'll
just get
work
over
on.
yourself because you're the only one that's being critical. No one else is.
Fair enough.
And sometimes
They
I
knew my
just do
photography.
it in stories too. If you don't want to live there forever, do it in stories. It's only there for 24 hours.
And then go
They've
away.
seen your face. Yeah. So, if you don't want it to be in your feed forever, but you do want to, show your face from time, do it in stories. It's another way to do it.
I didn't understand what stories were, but that makes sense.
Yeah, what do
The
they
younger
live
generation
24
tend to just do stories. I have found that the younger generations are almost 100% doing stories and not actually doing post.
Oh,
So stories are important because that's all they're looking at and that's all they're doing. If
I'll
that's
Yeah.
be
part of your
darned.
audience, your customer base, at least the
I
ones that
got
I know.
I got to start doing this. I just started learning to do reels, so I try to do a reel every once in a while and stuff like that, kind of mix it up. But things change constantly. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just how it is, Caroline. Find like something like Wanda said, like websites. Find something that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that you feel comfortable doing and stuff. So that doesn't mean we need to be on all the platforms and we need to be everywhere and every. find something that works for you and stick with it, because being consistent and getting your stuff out there is what's going to help you get seen. You don't have to be on everything and doing everything. It just
Absolutely. I
concentrate.
learned that on Instagram that reels work better than posts. So I try to do a reel once a week if possible, if not more.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Our speaker from Art Smart, he also has a strong opinion about process pictures, and that we as artists shouldn't be doing process pictures. We should be more genuine or whatever, that all we're attracting is other artists. Well, I strongly disagree with him on that, because I get more comments from my non-artist followers about
It
how
makes
much
them
they
more
enjoy,
interested.
how that, yeah, they get more engaged. They actually, like I just did a post on Sunday asking which glass do you think the customer picked, and I had more engagement on that than and it wasn't even like building up to being able to sell a product. I'm showing how I made a commission, but
I was gonna guess it was gonna be the third one. I really
yeah,
was.
she surprised me on that. Yeah, she did. She
I
did
picked
surprise me
two
on that.
based off of her comments, but
Yes,
I was like,
exactly.
I bet she picks three because that
Yeah,
was my
she did.
favorite.
She did. I would have agreed with you. I would agree with everybody that she would have picked two, but that's not the one she picked.
That was funny.
And see,
But yeah,
just
you
doing
never know
something
what's
simple
gonna
like that.
engage.
Yeah. It just, you're being genuine, you're sharing your art, and it doesn't always have to be the pretty side of it. It just, people love seeing the process and learning how people got things done and stuff. And like Wanda said, the Lennon that was our speaker is like, tell your story. You know, for me, that's what works for me, because that's what people get engaged with it. Because like when I can tell, I don't even know how many times at art shows, because I was showing black and white photography of farm animals, and people would just walk past my booth. Well, my picture of a cow is no better than four booths down their picture of a cow, but it's my story that they connect with. I'd be like, well, I took that picture, and they'd step in, and I'd say, that's Big Red, and he lives in Gerald, Missouri on the Stewart farm. And, his owners, Fred and Serena, they raise, you know, so I
There
could
is
tell him
so
a
much truth
story.
to that.
Yeah,
It's
I didn't do
amazing.
it drive-by. Yeah, people will connect with stories and stuff. And it's just like Wanda saying, hey, I've got a customer, I'm doing commission, you know, no matter what, they will connect with your story. So if you've got a little something to tell them about that piece you're posting, give them that, because people will appreciate that, you know. So,
Have you guys ever done a webinar that talks about the various galleries and or best shows to participate in? I'm trying so hard to find the right good shows and galleries and avoid craft fairs. That has been the bane of my existence.
well,
The
there,
best thing I would
yes, we,
suggest is, if you're thinking about a show, go out to Best Missouri Hands members only and ask them if who's participated. And again, craft shows can be good for it. I wouldn't nix any kind of show. You've got to
Oh
know
no,
what the customer base is there. And so asking the question about what type of customers they've seen, because a show that an abstract painter does fantastic in, it may not be a show a ceramic artist does well in, and vice versa. So knowing what their art is, and a lot of that
truly.
stuff can have a big impact. And knowing you're in Springfield, kind of probably what areas of Springfield gather what kind of um, customer base, in that region. Whereas I would be, shooting the
Yeah,
dark if I wanted to go down to a
I've
show
been
down
doing
there.
shows since 2019, so I've hit quite a few good and bad, but I just kind of want to be more consistent as I move forward and try to maintain that artist environment. As I want the vendor, or the customers coming in, to know they're coming to buy art and they're not coming to, a garage sale or, craft show kind of thing.
well,
There's
there
I don't
there
I
another
are
have I've
several.
had
Yeah, there are several shows in Missouri that are Best of Missouri Hands friendly.
Yes.
And like when I first started out too, there were two shows, the Webster Art Fair and Art in the Park in Columbia. They were the same weekend. And so what I did is I went back at years past and saw how many Best of Missouri Hands artists were at each show because I kind of
Mm-hmm.
knew a lot of the names. And I saw Art in the Park had more Best of Missouri Hands artists. So that's the one I applied for and got into and stuff. Years later, they changed some rules and regulations on both of them and they moved to different dates. So I've done both of them and they're both great shows. But, some of our bigger shows for like in your area, Art Fest on Walnut, I think the Art in the Park at Sequoia. But you
Yeah,
got,
so my issue is that I won't do outdoor events anymore. I had the absolute best income at Arts Fest on Walnut when I
uh,
participated in it. It was a great show, but I did that and one other event outside, and otherwise I've never used my tent since. I it's too much, it's way too much and weather dependent for glass work, and I guess I'm a fair weather participant myself. So indoor art is events are important for me.
yeah, if you got family in Kansas City area, you might want to talk to Wanda about some indoor exhibits
There's
that they
not a
might have
lot.
that not okay. The show you need to put on your
There's some,
radar.
but there's not a lot indoor. Queenie in St.
That,
Louis is probably the big one.
Queenie is
that's what you
one.
need. Yeah, there's so few indoor opportunities anymore. Queenie definitely needs to be on your radar because it is a fine art show. And the nice thing about it, it's twice a year. So
Wow.
you've got an opportunity to show indoors twice a year. It is a high quality. It's not, you're not going to walk in, I mean, and
No
find
sun catchers.
no, no beanie hats. It's fine art. So put that one, other than that, and then the fall into art,
Yeah,
um,
I just found that one and got in that one this year. I was pretty excited about that.
I'll be it'll be interesting to see what trail they go down because the show was slipping a little bit. Um still a good show and everything, but it is being taken over by the Columbia Art League, which is puts on Art in the Park, which is a very, very nice art show, but it is outdoors. So hopefully it's always been a nice show. But hopefully they'll fine tune some things but Queenie is established. It's not, definitely give it a whirl.
I think I may have heard of that once, but thought it was outdoors. So I'll definitely check into that again.
I enjoyed it the
Yeah,
few years I did it.
Okay.
I mean, it's in St. Louis,
yeah.
so it's a drive
Oh,
for
sure.
me. Would be a drive for you too. And of course, then you have hotel unless you've got friends or
Exactly.
something to
But I'm
stay with.
doing
So
that for the Columbia event too,
yeah,
so.
Well, I will tell you what I started doing and very hard for me because I'm an introvert, which seems weird, but I am an
Me
introvert
too.
and but when I first started doing art shows, there's no way I could afford a hotel and to do the art show and stuff. I would have been in the negative all the time. I just put on Facebook, hey, I'm doing an art show in this area. Is anybody willing to put me up? And so only twice since 2010 have I paid for a hotel, and both of those were out of state. So, and now I've got regulars. Like if like Teresa Gallup was my go-to in Springfield, depending on what show I'm doing in St. Louis, it might be Wendy or it might be Nina, or I've stayed at Patty Minnick's house. I've stayed at, I mean, I have a place to stay that I know I can go that and be safe and not have to pay anything. So, the only issue then is that, you know, I like to kind of come back and crash and, after a show and get on my phone and
I
be on
don't want to
social
entertain
media and
anyone.
yeah, but that's that's the price you pay it. But I'll tell you what, it's a heck of a lot cheaper than $130 for a room or something a
True
night. And
story.
so So you gotta pick your bat. And every time I have absolutely adored whoever I've stayed with and have enjoyed the conversations and, so it's been a win-win situation. But you might think about that and just, you know, make a connection in Columbia. Because if you want to do that show again next year, maybe you'll
Yep.
have a place to,
I
you
lived there
know.
for 25 years. You would think it wouldn't be that hard, but I didn't really keep in touch. I'm an
Yeah,
introvert. I'm gone, I'm gone.
understand. All right, you get any, that hour passed pretty quick. I
Yeah.
It
think we
did.
had plenty to, you know. Is there
Yeah, it was a
anything
lot of
else
fun.
pressing that, yeah,
No,
is
those
there
were the
anything
big
else, Carolyn?
hitters that I had questions about.
Okay, well, I will tell you what, like Wanda said, get on Best Missourians, the member only page. If you got questions or something like that, throw them out there. Check on your badge. You can check with Barbara if anything's coming up in the Springfield yet for regional event, because that is going to happen. So,
Awesome.
yeah,
Well, this has been the
take
best
it.
webinar. Thank you for your undivided attention. So,
Absolutely,
so much
absolutely.
appreciated.
If we can help one person, we've done our job, right?
Well, you've done
You
your
know.
job.
Well,
So,
we
so much
appreciate you being
appreciated.
here. Yeah, well, you are quite welcome, and anything we can do to help you along your journey, just reach out and let us know, because